if you love really pretty things, you're going to absolutely love this collection. It's called Botanical Frames, and there are 5 pieces in the collection.
And it's got pinks and teals and golds, and it's absolutely beautiful. Botanicals everywhere. Wait till you see it.
It's not that we really love this at all, and we're going to show you lots of things to do with them. Come play with us. There we go. There's botanical frames. They're just all over the place. So we've got papers, we've got scrapbooking dazzles.
We've got paper tole, we've got foiled fancies and stamps.
And there is also an embossing folder that we'll show you in another webisode. And in the fall, there's going to be a cutting die.
Yay.
So that's
what should we start with?
We're going to start with the papers. Always start with the papers.
Okay. And they are just absolutely beautiful.
There are 12, as is our practice, and they are double-sided. And of course, because this is hot off the press, you're going to get scrapbook page ideas, you're going to get card ideas, no additional charge, just for you. And then when you turn the package over, my goodness, you get even more. What a deal. Okay, and here's all the things. Some of the, well, we'll show you all of those, but we'll show you even more. So let's take a look at the papers. What I love about this is the color combination. It's very soft, it's very lovely, and isn't this gorgeous with those two kind of going off the edge?
Off the pages. What I love is the black and white elements combined with the colors. So you've got like unfinished artwork, and then you've got this colored artwork with it. Absolutely beautiful.
Just so pretty. You can see the white going back. There's a little bit of text on both of the sides as well as up here. So just really pretty, easy to use.
Okay, so this is enough. All we need is just this one page and we're done.
Okay, but we're not. We're going to get more. So look at this. Now I really like this. I love this color. I think this kind of teal is so pretty, but again, you've got the white blossoms with some that have been colored in. So just so pretty.
Some ghosting images. You've got butterflies. Those botanicals are really
tendrils
forefront here.
Going all over.
They outdid themselves, our design team.
Great graphics. Now here is yet another border. Look at this along the bottom or the side, however you decide to choose it.
That's what I appreciate about this set. It has lots of borders to choose from.
It does, and lots of ways you can use them. So the darker gray, boosting the gold a bit more here. But look at these squares coming into the illustrated design.
Yeah, it's like the negatives. So now you've got the black and white bits, and you've also got the negatives of those.
Right. So different, so pretty against a lattice in the background. Then we have, well, we talked about botanical frames, and here we've got lots of them in this all over pattern. Now you might want to leave this as it is. You might want to cut it apart. We'll see what the design team did.
We're going to cut it apart.
We're going to cut it apart. Okay, says the woman. Okay. Then here is another border. What is this, the third or fourth one?
At least the third, I think. Third border.
Look at that. I love those.
It's the fourth border.
Look at those dots on either side. Now this is just going up the edge. You can see it's kind of, we took a swatch out of the last sheet and put it there digitally. Look at that. Yeah,
just beautiful.
Very fun. Again, the text, the tendrils, so pretty. And then isn't this fun? Kind of a clover leaf that's going on with kind of windows into the various botanical elements. Look at that. Very fun.
Really fun. Nice overall piece. It's great for background, or you can cut it into smaller strips too.
Okay, now we're going to flip them.
Okay.
And we're going to start with a stripe. So the stripe is going to have elements of everything that we've just shown you. Look at this. This is all of those blocks, but they've been ghosted back and done in a tone on tone with stripes on top.
Right.
Just a lot of things going on. We don't take the easy way ever. And then we have a gingham that's been turned on point, and you can see that, just very sweet. And there is that kind of clover leaf again. That's not the right term, but anyway, that's an all over pattern, very small. You can see it against my finger. And then we have a gold gingham, but it's also got some text along the edges, and it's kind of inked on the edges too, a little bit darker, lighter in the center.
Always layering going on these papers.
And then another of those flourishes that I was calling clover leaves that I'm deciding is not a good term, and so we've got that in the brighter pink.
Absolutely beautiful. Now there are ribbons that go with this set.
Of course there are.
Beautifully coordinated ribbon.
Let me guess, 12.
12. I love the ribbon set with this one. 12 ribbons. Each of these is 36 inches long, and we're going to start with that very striking wide crepe.
Very soft pink.
That soft pink. It's absolutely beautiful. Here is another crepe in this beautiful muted teal. So this is more of a 5/8 inch crepe. Just beautiful. You're going to get sheer swirl, and this is also, I think it's white.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so that's just gorgeous. You're going to get nice accent pieces like these, an 1/8 inch sheer in black. You're going to get another 1/8 inch sheer in this very pale pink. You get an 1/8 inch grosgrain in that nice, a little bit brighter teal. You get a grosgrain in a wider pink, so that'll make some nice accent pieces. There's another crepe in a nice brighter pink. Absolutely love that silver gray velvet
glitter
ribbon on there with the glitter that does not come off. There's a great black sheer with those white dots on there. And like I said, 12 plus this great baker's twine in a gray and white. And I love the touches of gray that go with this set.
Very nice. Now our dazzles are the larger dazzles, and what's nice about that is that they're going to give you larger images. So let me turn it over and you'll see that we've got the 2 sheets of images in the black, so you can see the 6 inch long borders. You can see all of these elements that are there.
Those blocks are really a recurring element that you're going to see in this
That's
collection.
the framed part. Now there's also the pink butterfly dazzles. 192 of these little beauties there.
Beautiful. And they're pearl.
Yes, they're pink pearl. So pretty. Now you can see them right there. They have a gold edge, so just gorgeous. And then we're going to have some paper tole. This is paper tole, and these are die cut out. And you're just going to follow the numbers. So there we go. Like this is number 1. That's our largest piece. That will get glued down to your project. Then number 2 is going to get foam taped on top. Number 3 will get foam taped onto number 2, and you are done. And there's always extra artwork, and you can see that you're going to get this piece, and you're also going to get this piece.
Right, so 3 designs always on the 3D paper tole with the extra artwork. I love this one. I just love those block images.
And we'll show it to you in a project.
Okay.
Speaking of something I love, here are foiled fancies, my favorite. And botanical frames, just look at those. There are 28 pieces on this sheet.
You're going to get those blocks, so you get that. I love this one in particular, which is the recurring thing that you're seeing. It is one floral image that's been cut into 4 pieces, and you get that here on the foiled fancies as well as extras.
Right, and speaking of cutting, you simply cut the connector, and that way your pieces all stay together. You don't have 50 million running all over.
And they're very easy to snip apart with scissors. You don't need like extra heavy-duty scissors. You're going to get some butterflies, some floral pieces, larger and smaller pieces. I love that little rose. That one little rose is just a fun element. Yeah, the border, very highly useful.
And on the back, of course, we're going to give you ideas. And then this image, it shows you in red where those connectors are, just in case there's any question.
Right.
Now, we also, boy, told you there was a lot in this collection.
You haven't even seen a project yet.
Botanical frame stamps. These are, well, I think they're stunning.
They are stunning.
In addition to the big blocks, we also have words, greetings, individual pieces, and they are just really neat.
These are getting a lot of use in our tech department where we use them over and over, and I want to say especially this one. So much fun to color that in. It's been used over and over on our project.
Very stunning. And one thing I want to show you, this block of 4, just like the one you were just talking about on the foil fancies, it can be used separately, or you can bring them together and then
to make one picture.
Do you see the butterfly right there? That's the butterfly. So you could stamp this individually
and
foam
lay it
tape
right on top of there. So that is perfect. Plus it's got all these great sentiments and lots of smaller and larger sentiments.
Happy everything, enjoy the moment.
For lots of different events.
Yeah, so all of that. Okay, let's get to the projects.
Okay.
Enough is enough. Okay, how are we going to use them? Well, this is what we're going to do.
Beautiful.
We are going to use the papers, and these are the Dazzles. So look at that. Just that large image. I love the fact that it's cut off. I think that's such a great design element. And this is the border of the Dazzles. And this is new Dazzles that we'll do separately, but this is, I think it's Greetings. I can't remember what it's called.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, they come in a strip like this, so just for you. They're gorgeous.
Okay, absolutely beautiful. Anyway. But let's look at what's going on just with it. This is
Stay focused, Paulette.
This piece, aside from that little butterfly, is one Dazzle. It's been placed on cardstock, so I've got a piece just like that. So by itself, I mean, that could be done. That's a beautiful black and white card, or maybe put some of that beautiful pink paper behind it. Or you can get out your Spectrum Noir pens, and I've got two sets here. I have the pinks and the turquoises, and each of those come with 6 pens. Highly useful. If you don't have these already, you're going to want a set because you can really make this beautiful. Because they're graduated in color. You've got a darker, a medium, and a light, and you're going to start, I think, with the light one. That's the way I like to do it. Just sort of color in.
And that's called BT, B as in boy, T as in Tom 2.
Okay, and so, and you can look on the gallery and see how Susan chose to, I think it was Susan or maybe Lene that did this. So go ahead and start with a lighter color, so Lene, and then go in with your medium color and sort of add.
And that's number 4.
I'm going to start with this and sort of start blending, bringing that up, add a little bit, just a little bit of that, and you can blend those nicely if you go back to that lighter color and start blending those together.
Right on top of it.
And because they're alcohol pens, they dry really quickly. Yeah, it's really simple just to sort of blend the edges. You can also use a blender pen for this, but you see that works nicely. And all you need is just a little bit of that darker color right in the middle, and it's just going to sort of add a little bit just to the center of those.
Now on those pens, something I didn't realize until I saw Sarah Davies demonstrating this, these all have BT. Now they're all in the same pack, the turquoise pack.
Correct.
But because they're the same letters, they're going to do the light, medium, and dark together. So that's just another addition into the collections as you see them. But
and even within one set, you might see some different letters. So you'll know that we know that the PPs go together and the BPs go together, and you'll get perfectly coordinated colors.
There'll be a test at the end of the show.
Okay.
So there you go. You can see. And something I think is really nice as we get in really close to see is that Gail just kind of swiped that darker. It works beautifully that you don't have to fuss with it too much. You can do the blending, but don't worry about being perfect. Please don't.
Right. I know you can see lines there, but you can see how beautiful it is, especially, and something I'll say is that when you're coloring with Spectrum Noir pens, you might have a tendency to get very close. So you're really getting close to get it just the way you want it. But really, this is not where everybody's going to look at your card. They're going to be looking at it from back away, from right about there.
Good job, John.
And look how beautiful, that is. So.
Now the butterfly, in fact, both butterflies were placed on cardstock and colored in and then cut out and foam taped, so you can see that. On the inside, we've got another little one fluttering down there.
And just a little bit of paper up at the top. I love the little strip of paper that's surrounding just because.
And it's nice with that gold paper, you can see that there was text on it, so it just becomes a design element. And those are the new Dazzles, which you'll see another show. Now, we're going to talk about scrapbook pages, of course.
Now you're seeing a similar technique. You're seeing those colored in Dazzles, but look how different they can look.
Very different, much lighter. And I do like the fact that this was turned on point. Very nice.
So we're talking about the dazzles that come in. These are the blocks. When put together, it creates one image. But two of these images have been foam taped, and two of them are setting down. And that just really makes kind of a nice stair step effect.
I just really want to show you that because it really adds a nice little design element to it, to have those lifted up, whether it's on a scrapbook page or a card.
Right, and I love leaving the white around there because that makes an impact around that flower.
It really does.
You don't have to color in everything. You can leave some white showing.
Good to know. We're going to back up so you can see the overall page. So this is one of the borders.
Right.
And I like the idea of the rectangles. In fact, we've got rectangles and squares, which you often do with scrapbooking. But this pink kind of holds them all together, and even though they're popping off the edges of the pink, it works beautifully.
It does. So that's just a nice little pink background, and then you just start layering around it.
And lovely is a wonderful way to do
and
the
that comes
journaling.
From the dazzles, right? You don't have to add anything else to that.
And we've got a few little dazzles right here.
Right.
So just adding into the photo in an unused area.
And then those little butterflies.
Yes, popping off the wings of this dazzle. And again, not every part is colored, and just placed it on the cardstock and then cut the cardstock larger so it looks like a mat.
Yeah, a nice little mat around there. I love that dazzle and that it's popping off of that box like that. That's absolutely gorgeous. So this is one of those, one way to use one of the border pieces.
Now here comes another of the pages that has a corner treatment this time, and how it's been used. Now, you would pretty much think that this is where you would put your photograph, but look what's been done. We've added a black mat to the photo. Because the photo was larger, we had room to put the dazzle border, backing it on pink.
You'll notice the edges of this photo, I mean, they're really kind of pale, and so it's really important to add that black mat, so it really helps it to pop against the papers.
And it is against that page that had the framed flowers all over.
All over it.
Yeah.
Right. So isn't that beautiful? Now, in this case, you also have paper-backed flowers. So some of these dazzles were placed right onto the pattern paper, and you've seen us cut the dazzles before. Just cut around the edge of the dazzles to back that
That's
piece.
on the gingham. How fun is that?
Isn't that
and how
beautiful?
easy is that?
So that's really fun. And then that nice big enjoy the moment down there.
And use the butterflies to flutter around.
So fun.
Then look at the upper left-hand corner. Look at those pennants coming down so beautifully, two in the same color, and then bringing in the gray, adding a strip of the dazzles, and then having this one again going across
all three. So it's creating a background for your focal with those banners. They could be left, and they could just be three banners coming down.
And that'd be fine.
But that is gorgeous too. It's just got that beautiful pink flower, and it really anchors from this corner down to the opposite corner of your page.
And you see that the pink butterflies are there. So we've got butterflies kind of fluttering all over our page.
I need to point out this one. So right on the center of this one of those pink butterflies just set right on top of there. So that's a nice little accent.
That's a really...
for one of the larger, and that one was backed on paper and colored in with Spectrum Noir pens.
Very pretty. So just a beautiful, fresh look.
Really.
And enjoy the moment. You know, you don't have to just scrapbook events. You can scrapbook everyday life.
Sure.
It's a nice thing to do. Now, card makers, I hear you're screaming. You want more cards. So here we go. This is one of the new 3D frames. Now, this is available as die-cut cards, 3 envelopes together, and you can get a template. So the template will also make it easy to make this card. And you've got something to show us, don't you?
Well, I've got, having used the template, I've got the piece that was traced out. So it's really simple to create one of those cards. The base piece was traced. You also traced the score lines. And this X here is a piece that's going to be cut. Very good directions on the template, which tell you exactly how to do this, plus examples that show you what it looked like once you've put it together. So this was traced, and then it was cut out, and it was scored. So I scored on these two lines so that when it's folded, it's going to be like that. I also scored around these outer pieces here. There's an outer box, an inner box, and then I cut along these pieces. So I've got these pieces cut. Now, when you go to put this together, you're going to start by going back. So you're going to do mountain folds on each one of these pieces. And then you're going to come back with that other score to do a valley fold. And each of those is going to end up like this. This is creating, I'm going to turn it over in just a second. This is creating on the back of your card this little box shape, which is a frame. The other two pieces that you cut, and I did cut them in different pieces just so you could see this.
Different colors.
And you're going to slip that in there. It's going to glue onto those. And this is going to cover the back and glue.
It just finishes it off.
Yeah, so it finishes it off. It makes that nice little box shape, and then you have that 3D frame.
Now, if I were to show you these holographic papers and tell you we're going to use these all together, you might go, okay, Paulette, show me what you're going to do.
Yeah, they don't really go together.
Well, but look at this. Now, in this case, the template was used because this is a gray card, and it's been done out of cardstock. And so we have that as our base, and the dazzles are being used. Well, first of all, the botanical
the papers from the botanical frames there, but then the dazzles have been backed on those papers.
Exactly.
Just a little bit of that pink and that pink framing, and then a little bit of the green just for the leaves.
And enjoy the moment. Just really is the focal of this. But I love how the papers really support in even that little bit of frame there. Now, on the template and on the die cut cards, you do get the pattern for that, so you don't have to figure it out yourself.
And then you can just make sure that you trace it on the area that you want those florals to go around the frame.
And then on the inside, look at this, happy everything.
And that's using one of those border papers, so it's ready to go.
Isn't that lovely?
Just cut to suit.
So easy, so easy. Yes, it works well.
Beautiful.
So there we go with our card. Now, another card equally easy to do is this one, and now we're bringing in our stamp.
Right, so these have been stamped, and let's see, here are the stamps here, and we have these separate blocks. You can choose which ones you want to use. There are some down here, and there are some up here that you can use.
Lots of choices.
Go ahead and stamp them, and these have been colored in with watercolor pencils.
So
you've seen us do that a bunch of times. Right, you can go ahead and color them in. You can even blend them with the brush that comes with them, with the paintbrush, or just leave them colored just the way they are. But I love that look.
And again, using the paper so beautifully, that just works so nicely on the outside there, stamping happy everything. The butterfly actually has more color on it than any of the other elements.
So it really sort of pops right there.
And notice how that wing is going into the greeting. It really does a nice job of leading your eye through it. And we have butterflies. Is that what you were going to go?
No, go ahead.
Butterflies fluttering all the way.
And then you've got this ribbon. Well, I love the treatment in that if we go down to the bottom, the ribbon has actually been wrapped around the front piece of paper, and then the dazzles were put on top afterwards.
Okay, and then just a knotted ribbon on the side this time. And on the inside, we have another of the blocks. In fact, let me bring in the stamp so you can see right there. And that has been done also the same thing with those watercolor pencils, and always thinking of you. And you know, the stamps are silicone. They are very sturdy. They're not squishy. They're not going to...
They're not sticky.
Yeah,
they're not going to get yellow with age or crack. They're going to last.
Right.
They're
and
great
then
to use.
A knotted ribbon, a sheer ribbon on here.
So, you know, technically that's two card fronts. One on the front, one on the inside.
There you go. That happens so often, doesn't it? Now we have another card using the Botanical Frames papers, but we're adding a different stamp.
So it's a small stamp.
Yeah, it's the mum stamp.
Okay.
Look at that.
Thankful for you. Isn't that cute?
Isn't that pretty right there?
And I love that what was done here was it was stamped 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times on cardstock, and that it was cut out individually. Even the little swirls here were cut out. Though I will say, if this fussy cutting is a little bit too much for you, just stamp and emboss that
Directly.
on the background and then cut out the flowers and place them on top.
And those flowers, you can see that shimmer as I wiggle this.
That's metallic copper embossing powder.
And what I think, and actually this really speaks to the quality of the stamps, the detail that's there, just really, really nice.
Isn't that beautiful? There's also a little bit of the watercolor pencils were used to get sort of a yellow hue to that as well.
And speaking of copper, there are copper border dazzles that have also been added. And look at those metal leaves.
Aren't those beautiful?
Isn't that nice? Now these come in a package of 5 from our friends at Maya Road, and they're very, very, very lightweight because they're hollow inside.
Right, and you can just foam tape those on. And now I've used these before, and they look great when you sand them too. You can get a nice vintage look with those.
Very, very pretty.
And you've got those papers, which those botanical papers, just beautiful.
Isn't that nice? And I would not have actually thought of those with copper, but they work very nicely.
They do.
Now we're back to scrapbooking, and we're going to get into our foiled fancies.
Another one of those beautiful border papers as well.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. And you can see that we've got our photos placed pretty much in the middle of our page. Happy everything with our dazzles. But look at all of those foiled fancies.
Isn't that great? So you've got some going over some over the photos. You've got some down. I love the butterflies down on the flowers down below. And those are really simply just sanded. And if you haven't seen that before,
watch quickly because this doesn't take long to do.
Doesn't take long, so there it is, and you can use it just like that. You've got that beautiful gold, or if you want a little bit of an accent, I've got a sanding block. I prefer a sanding block to sandpaper for this because sandpaper, if you push on it too hard, it can sort of scratch the background, and I want to try to stay up on the embossed areas up on top. So isn't that gorgeous?
Just exhausting to do, as you could tell.
And it gets down to like a silver core, so it gives you just a little bit of accent.
And we've added some pink jewel dazzles into the centers because pink and coral are the colors that are certainly going along with our page. So we've got that cluster in the middle. Now that's I guess it's 3 different pieces that have been.
See, I looked all over for
that one?
that cluster of flowers, and I go, oh, they just used 3 of them. Okay.
And there are the dazzles on the butterfly. You can see a little square that's just nested into the bow.
And then a border piece used right on the photo, which is
and
a great
then look at this stair step going with the butterfly up in the corner.
Isn't that
just
fun?
Really
They're not
nice.
all in a row. They're just a little bit offset.
So nice. So, and that gray background just works so beautifully with those photos.
This is a fun part of our collection.
It is. Now, here is another technique that you can do. Now, this is the stamp you were talking about. No?
This,
paper tole.
We fooled you. This is the paper tole. Isn't that beautiful?
It is, and it must
Where
be.
Is that paper tole?
It's underneath there. You can grab it. These are 4-inch wide doilies. I think it's really fun to have that circle behind the rectangle.
It is.
Okay, show me the paper tole.
So here is the piece. So the base piece is this large piece all in one that has that butterfly, and then you just add the little, let's see,
Number
this is
2.
one. Oh, here's number 2, the large piece,
and number 3.
Then the butterfly. But what I love is that one of the foiled fancies was added right on top of there.
It fits perfectly.
It does fit perfectly.
You might be surprised, okay, where'd the black come from? Well, if you haven't seen our pre-webisode that we did at the end of December, you're going to show that, okay?
Right. There are so many different ways of altering foiled fancies.
There are.
You can sand them. You can ink them, and I'm just going to lightly tap on there, and I'm going to turn that a little bit.
And you might notice
a
that
bit more.
fluorescent sticker so that no one is going to take that from us in the studio.
This is ours. And so there it is. Just add a little bit of ink, and now you've got a nice accent.
Just so pretty. Isn't that easy to do? You do want to use a StazOn or a Surfaces ink pad because these are smooth, and so
kind
those
of a
are
glossy
going to work.
finish, and that's what sort of tells you it's not going to stay on there unless it's something like that.
So we've got the Botanical Frames papers. We have the Botanical Frames paper tole.
And the Botanical Frames foiled fancies.
And the Botanical Frames dazzles. So you can see that just finishing.
The edges were sanded too, I noticed on there, which is nice. nice with those papers. And then you just got a stacking of some of the papers in the back.
Right, and this is just one of the
the paper tole pieces. You don't have to stack all of it. You can use them separately.
Yes, if you could then leave this flat and use these two elements elsewhere, and then you always have extra artwork. So,
but I love the little additional foiled fancy, just a tiny little flower on the center of there.
And some dots in the center of it. Very nice. Now there is yet another. Well, there are many ways you can use the foiled fancies, but look at this.
That's kind of a spectacular way of using them.
It is. Now, do you want to show us what's going on here?
I'll show you briefly, because you're looking at that and you're going, okay, it's silver, and they start out gold, and you're seeing the gold and the silver.
What did you do, Gail?
Fun way. We know that there's silver underneath there.
Evidently.
And we're going to get to it by using fingernail polish, and I use 100% acetone. It just kind of works really nicely for this technique. I have a paper towel. I'm going to get some of that. Got my craft sheet so I don't ruin anything else. Try to keep it off of my fingernails because I do have polish on. And then just look, oh look, it's like a Tarnex commercial. It just comes right off.
And for $19.99 you can have...
No, it's not that expensive. They're cheap. I mean, for what you get, they're inexpensive.
You know, I just can't stop but think of, we so carefully put the gold on these, and Gail just wipes that sucker off and gets down to silver.
However, some of the pieces we took the gold off entirely, and some of the pieces we just took the gold off the edges just a little bit.
I have to tell you, I really like that idea. I think that's really smart. And it just gives you just a different piece going on.
And then stamping. You can add some stamping, and there is a stamp set of fancy patterns, which is made perfectly for those foiled fancies. Add some great little highlights on there.
Very lovely. And on the inside, that's one of our duotone foiled fancy butterflies with that paper that we have.
Just a little bit of the all-over pattern, and it looks like a block of little photos all right in there, or little artistic pieces.
Right. So botanical frames, papers, and stamps.
And dazzles.
And paper tole. And fancy foil fancies and ribbons.
And there's also a great embossing folder which goes with it well. That's coming. Okay.
So that's what we have this week. Please join us next week. We'll see you then.